friends, this is Tina Weller, the Serene Stamper. Today's card is going to be using our watercolor paper and the Choose Happiness stamp set. And we are also going to be using a masking technique, which I've been on a bit of a masking kick lately, just because there's so much you can do with masking. So I have a post-it note, and I've taken the flower from the stamp set, and I'm just going to ink it up with the crisp cantaloupe ink. And I want to stamp it up on the top of the post-it note where I've got sticky strip, because we're going to need that sticky strip. Now that I have my image stamped, I'm going to take my paper snips and cut it out. The trick with cutting your image is to turn your paper along with your scissors. It just makes it a lot easier for trimming out your images, and I actually find this really relaxing. I don't find it tedious, and it doesn't take too long to do. And I also keep my masks. Once I've stamped it and cut it out, I tuck it into my stamp set. So generally I don't have to make another mask. I always have them. I remember when I first started stamping, before I even knew Stampin' Up! Existed and before they were in Canada, I used to keep an envelope just for my masks. So you can do whatever works best for you, but they are handy to have. Alright, I've almost got this all finished, and I've cut relatively close to the edge, and I still have some sticky strip on the top so that I can hold it down. So I'm going to set that aside. Next, I want to ink up my stamp using the crisp cantaloupe ink pad. I've cut my watercolor paper to measure 3 by 5. Next, I'm taking my strawberry slush marker, and I'm going to color in the center of my stamp and just kind of touch around the edges a little bit. I have a Stamp and Mist bottle that I've finished, so I'm recycling it. I've put water in it, and I'm just going to mist my stamp with that water and stamp it down on my watercolor paper. So you get a really pretty look there. I'm going to dry off my stamp and re-ink it just like I did a second ago. Now before I stamp this, I want to place my mask down on my card. Just like that. Mist it with water again and stamp. I'm not going to move my mask because I want to do another flower. Ink it up. Add my marker, mist, and stamp. Okay, I want to do a couple more on this side. Mist. And I'm stamping off the paper. Okay, I'm going to remove my mask because I need it for this bit. So you can see by having my mask there, it's made the other two flowers look like they are behind the first flower. Pretty neat, hey? Alright, let's go ahead and line this up. And put our last flower down. And how much ink you want to add with your marker is completely up to you. I always say there's no right or wrong. You're the artist. Now I have 3 flowers over here, and I've just stamped 2 more. That makes a total of 5. I want to keep my flowers at an odd number because it looks better. So either stamp 3, 5, or 7s when you're doing this technique. So I hope you can see that's really pretty. Alright, moving on to our leaves. I've got my wild wasabi. I'm going to put my mask back down, but this time I'm going to put it down in the corner. And the trickiest part of this card is trying to remember where to line up the mask with the flower. Alright, I think that's about right. Ink up my leaf, and again I'm going to mist it. And I want to fill in this gap here, but I don't want to go over the flower, so I'm just going to stamp right on top of that mask and in between those two flowers. See? And I'm not going to take the mask off yet because I want to add a flower up here. Okay, so when I move the mask, that's what I have. Now you could have more than one mask. Now I have already gone ahead and cut out a second one. You can tell I've been using this. And I'm going to put this onto my card. Because I have a blank spot in here, I want to fill that in. So I've inked up my leaves again, and I have misted them, and I'm always turning my stamp as I push down so that the leaves look like they're going all willy-nilly, all different directions. So you see? Now I want to add some more leaves up here. Ink up my leaf, mist it, and I'm going to stamp in this direction, just like that. So my leaves are not being stamped on top of my image, which is exactly what I want. Now I do have a bit of a blank spot up here, so I'm not going to bother re-inking. I'm just going to stamp right along the top so that I get a lighter shade of my leaves. I want to color in my leaves a little bit just to pull in the green, and to do that I'm using my blender pen, and I'm not going to grab any more color. I'm just simply going to grab the color that's already on there just from pulling it from the stamped image. I'm going to clean my pen by going back and forth on the scrap paper. Now I can do the same thing with my flowers. If I want to pull some of that color in, I can. So let's go ahead and do that a little bit. I'm going to stamp this sentiment from the same stamp set, Choose Happiness, with our black StazOn ink. I'm inking it up really, really generously. Then I'm going to stamp it right about 3/4 of a way down, pushing nice and firm, and I'm not wiggling it too much. Okay. My card base is crisp cantaloupe, and it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when it's folded, and I have a piece of basic black cardstock that I've already gone ahead and punched out using my scallop border punch. This strip measures 5 inches so that it will tuck nice right against my image here. So there's the first layer. Now we need to add this one. We're just going to tuck that right alongside. Just like that. Okay. And I want to add some pearls on there. So there's the outside of the card done. Let's do the inside. All I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my stamp exactly the same way that I did for the outside of my card, inking it in my crisp cantaloupe and using my strawberry slush in the center and on the edges. My inside piece is just some scrap computer paper. That's generally what I use. And I'm still going to go ahead and mist my flower, stamp it in the corner, and I'm not going to worry about using my mask. I'm just going to stamp it randomly. I'm going to do the same thing using my leaf stamp. Ink it up. mist, and stamp. I'm going to add a couple more flowers. Stamping off my page a little bit. Okay, so that's going to be the inside of my card. I'm going to leave the inside blank for my message. And that's it. A simple card using our watercolor paper, our ink pads, markers, and you have a really pretty card ready in no time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have fun. Happy stamping.